Hi, um, my name is Ingrid Zacharias, and I am a freelance writer, editor, and an artist. Um, Prior to that, I worked for a number of years as a um, teacher's assistant. Um, and then I worked as a community development worker, and then I founded a nonprofit. And then my depression, which I had been dealing with since 1998, took over completely, and I lost my job. Um, and so I ended up actually being off work for about a year, trying to start my own business, trying to reconnect with nonprofit, which I found suddenly that all of the doors were closed to me, because I believe then already, I had had a nervous breakdown. And people kind of treat you like they do when you get divorced, you know? They're scared it's contagious, especially in nonprofit where everybody is working 150%. And when things go wrong, it's hard to have the resilience to make things bounce back. And so while people were friendly, some were willing to sit down, meet with me, some were unwilling to talk to me completely. Some would not return my phone calls, some would not associate with me in any way. Now that I found very hard, because a part of losing my job, I felt like I had lost my best friends and my family, and it wasn't just my staff, but also my board and all of those people that I felt were parts of my support system. So I found myself going through a major depression without any of those supports in place. So during the year that I was off, I tried to start my own consulting business for nonprofit because, I had done, I had worked 12 years in nonprofit, 9 years as an executive director, and it just made sense to me to use those skills that I already had to earn my living. The problem I ran into was that because the nonprofit world was such a small group of people, everybody talks to everybody, and no one knows what rumors were out there, and nobody would tell me what rumors were out there, even though I had done nothing illegal, immoral, or anything like that. Having a nervous breakdown somehow made you a deficit. So at the end of that year, I had not earned any income at all from my consulting business. I had helped many people online, internationally, but of course, a lot of the international nonprofits have very little money. A lot of them are started in their local countries, and there's no money there to begin with, and then they struggle to find the means to to get the statistical data that they need to be able to get money into their communities. So, anyway, at the end of the year, I had to go back to work. I had to find a job. And so and this is not to offend anybody, but it's really hard to find a job when you're an executive director and all of a sudden you're looking for, administrative assistant jobs, or you're looking for, secretarial work or anything like that. And so what I ended up doing was I dummied down my my resume and cover letter, and I sent it off to several places, and I got an interview at one place. It was a call center for a local furniture company, and let me say that I feel that call centers are really the new, how would you say, well, they're the new worst place to work for sure. I just can't remember the words right now. Because somebody's always watching you every second. You say one word wrong, you spend too much time with a customer, even if you're, building goodwill and trying to make them want to still work with your company when your company screwed up. All of those things are watched and held against you if you're not fast enough. And later I discovered that some people were really fast because they were they knew what buttons to push on their phones so that nobody knew that they were offline and not working. And then other people, would just not answer their phone or not log in. And so there were many times I would find myself that I was the only person in a department of about 8 people that was taking calls. And once again, my health got worse again, and I felt like I was being pushed to the edge. And for that reason, I had to go off on sick leave. I attempted to get short-term disability. They denied it. It took them 3 months to, the insurance company, 3 months for them to agree to my short-term disability, and that was about how many months worth of short-term disability I was entitled to. And at that point, then they were assessing my long-term disability. So while you're going through this depression, and I'm single, and I do have adult children, but I didn't feel right burdening them with the things that I was having to deal with. And so I found that this never-ending trail of paperwork was just overwhelming. I mean, it's hard enough to do all that paperwork when you're not a depressed person, but when you are a majorly depressed person, it is truly traumatic. And sometimes some of the insurance companies, when they call to talk to you about your issues, can be really disrespectful. They assume first that everyone is trying to rip them off, and I wasn't. I had a hard time getting myself out of bed every morning. And maybe instead of going through all this history, I should have just got to that point. But I felt that the history was an important part of it. I reached a point when I went to leave this last job that I was at. I reached a point where I was crying at the drop of a hat. I felt sick all the time. They told me the day that I left, I was waiting for a taxi cab to come and pick me up. And my co-workers told my supervisor that I looked gray. My skin looked gray. So I was very definitely sick. And I came home. You don't want to get up in the morning. It's too much effort to even go and make yourself something to eat. I know you would look at me and you'd say, well, you don't look like you're having any problem eating. And you're right. I mean, in that I was eating all the wrong things because that was what was handy and I didn't have to think to make it. I could not cook. If I started cooking something, I would have to stop in the middle and get my kids to take over because I did not have the energy to complete the task. At that point, I couldn't write. My memory was so bad that someone could tell me something one moment, and if they came back 10 minutes later and said to me, remember I just told you 10 minutes later or 10 minutes ago that this is what's going on, I would not remember. It would be gone from my head completely. And I guess the thing you do is you close yourself off from people. You become isolated because you see no value in yourself. You see no value in going on living. And I had reached that stage, and that wasn't the first time I had reached that stage, but I think probably the only thing that kept me from doing anything was the fact that I had kids, and I knew that my kids would have to live with it for the rest of their lives, and I just didn't think that would be fair to them. So, all this time I'm going to my doctor. He's increasing pills I'm on. My antidepressants, I was on like 300 milligrams of sertraline. I was on 2 tablets of clonazepam twice a day. I had lorazepam for when I had panic attacks that got out of hand that I couldn't handle. I couldn't ride a bus. I would have major panic attacks and claustrophobia, and so if I wanted to go anywhere, I had to go by taxi cab, which was expensive and ate away my savings very quickly. And I found at the same time that other things were happening to my body. I was having really bad abdominal pain. I was having headaches. I was having numbness in my face, which is something I have struggled with my entire life. Well, not my entire life, since I was 36. And I started having these like mini strokes. And they told me that I had silent migraines, and I had high blood pressure, and I had a heart arrhythmia, and And then the thing to top it all off, I guess about 3 or 4 years ago, I ended up in the hospital with abdominal pain. And at that time they told me I had fatty liver disease. And fatty liver disease can affect anybody, really. There are thin people that can get it, there are heavy people that can get it, and there are people bigger than me that never get it. But just this year, I found out that not only did I have fatty liver disease, but it had caused me to develop cirrhosis of the liver. Now, I don't even drink alcohol, so it was not caused by alcohol consumption. It was caused by fatty liver. And then I found out after that not only did I have cirrhosis of the liver, but 30% of my liver was damaged. And something I didn't mention is that I'm on blood thinners, and that's for my heart and for the fact that I get this numbness on one side of my face. Anyway, I was lucky because the ultrasound people sent my results to a liver specialist. Because I think had it gone back to my family doctor, I don't think he even would have realized, how serious it was. So, I now have to go for an ultrasound every 6 months. On November the 12th of this year, 2014, I'll be having my first scope down my throat into my stomach, checking the veins to make sure that the veins aren't hypertensive or expanded. And if they are, what they will do is they will wrap elastic bands around them to make sure that they don't burst. Because my doctor has told me that if one of the veins in my throat or my stomach were to burst, that I would die. There would be nothing that they could do for me, because with the blood thinners I would bleed out before they could take any action. So needless to say, that didn't help my depression any. But I made up my mind that whether I live for 2 more days or whether I live for 30 more years, that I am going to make every day count for something. And so, a lot of people who suffer from depression never get out of that stage where they can't get out of bed, But I forced myself to start getting out of bed. I set my alarm clock. I got up. I put clothes on. I made my bed. And I decided I would start doing things that I wanted to do. And so what my daughter and I did was we started our own little jewelry business on Etsy. This is one of the pieces that I've made. I realize you probably can't see it very well. Maybe see it better if I hold it this way, or I hold it back. Yeah, if I hold it back here. And this one actually comes with earrings. And when I made it, I fell in love with it. I couldn't help it. It was so beautiful. And when you're depressed and you can create something beautiful, gives you such an adrenaline rush. You feel like you have power back in your hands. So my daughter and I started doing this jewelry business on Etsy. Our store is called Celestial Studio 13, and we sell a variety of different types of jewelry. It's all costume jewelry. There is, some sterling silver in there as well. But, we do other things too. Like my daughter's an artist, so we have her paintings up. She's a professional photographer, so we have her photography up on that site. And it was just a wonderful thing for us to do together. Number one, it increased my confidence in myself. And number two, I think it increased my daughter's confidence, and it also brought us closer together because it was something we could do together, and at that time, I was advertising every day, and we were getting sales every month. But then I decided that I wanted to try another field. I wanted to try writing. I had lived my whole life wanting to be an author. And I had done writing in the past. I wrote short stories. I converted a short story into a play. I wrote plays. Started to write a book about my grandparents. And so I figured, well, you know what? I'm a really good writer, because I am a really good writer. And now that I could write again, that ability came back to me. It was a great way to be able to take myself outside of myself and live in a different world. When you read a book, it takes you outside of yourself. And it takes you somewhere else, and it allows you to experience new things and to enjoy new things, or to be fearful of new things, or whatever. But it gives you a variety of emotions that you probably would not have been having at that moment. Okay? So I started doing freelance writing on freelance.com. And I was actually quite successful. I got a number of editing jobs, so I've been doing a lot of editing. But I've also written my own books. And I managed to find a publisher on freelance that wanted to publish my books. So this is the first book that I ever wrote. Now I'll try to get myself in here so that I can show you it, okay? It's The World Through a Cat's Eyes, and it's by Muffin the Cat. Now Muffin the Cat was our cat, and he was the first cat that we had as a family, and he was a member of the family. And I just want to read you the back of the book so that you can have an idea of how he made us feel. It says, "Hi, I'm Muffin the Cat. You wouldn't think that a cat could have an exhilarating life, but I have. So I decided to write a book about it. My human family is very supportive and even let me use the computer to make this book come to fruition. This is my story, and it is filled with love, action, adventure, exploration, romance, and family. It is a page turner that grabs you and pulls you into an adventure. The people I meet, the friends and enemies I make, and demonstrates how much an ordinary cat like I will do for love. I hope you enjoy my rendition of my adventures and my perspective on the humans in my life." So this book was published in July. You can get it on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca, any of the Amazons throughout the world, and it's actually supposed to be on the worldwide list of books as well. So, when I wrote this book, for me, I wrote this book for my kids because they all loved muffins so much. The hard part is my kids don't all like it. Because my oldest son has never quite come to terms with us losing Muffin. My middle son is very much an academic reader, and this is fiction, this is fun, this is love. And my daughter has read parts of it, and we'll get back to it, she tells me. But I guess it goes to show to you that what you think will be important to your family isn't always necessarily important to your family. But for me, this was something for them to hang on to and show to my grandchildren one day. I have one, but I hope to have many more. What their grandmother was capable of doing, even when she was living with depression. I will read you an excerpt from this another time, but I also have another book out. It's called The Gift of Family, and it's actually not a paperback, it is a Kindle. So even if you don't have Kindle, Amazon has something that they call WhisperNet that allows you to read Kindles right on your computer or on your phone or whatever electronic device that you use. You just need to download WhisperNet, and it will put the book onto your device. So The Gift of Family is actually a book I wrote many years ago. I believe it was 1994 or 1995. It was shortly after I lost my mom. And my mom was a really important part of my life. Loved her a lot. And when I wrote this book, I dedicated it to her. But the book is really about a man who feels that success and money are far more important than family. And it's about a man that discovers that that they aren't. That when it comes down to it, the really most important things in your life is family, be it biological family or family you've adopted. So, if you're a person suffering from depression, don't give up. Don't give up, don't give up, don't give up. Set your alarm. That's the first step. Get out of bed. Second step. Put on clothes. I still struggle with that sometimes. Don't worry, I've got a full set on right now. Make your bed and try to do things that you would do as a part of your normal routine. To this day, I have not been able to succeed to get back to my normal routine. But at least I'm not sleeping most of the day away. I'm writing, I'm ghostwriting, I'm editing, I'm writing my own book, and now I'm working on writing my own courses. So even if you have depression, you can still do a whole lot. Examples are Jim Carrey, can't remember his name, but he's a black comedian who used to be on a Canadian show where What's That Line or something. His name's Wayne. His first name is Wayne. We don't all have to turn out. It all doesn't have to end for all of us the way it did for Robin Williams. I don't blame Robin. I mean, he was such a gentle, kind soul who really cared so much about other people. And he was probably just at that stage where he couldn't take that one extra thing, and then one extra thing came along. But if you ever reach the stage where you reach that you're at the point of that one extra thing, I want you to email me. My email is, this is all lowercase, THEWORDWHISPER.ca. It's the Word Whisperer at shaw.ca. Drop me a line when you're feeling low, and maybe I can help you. Thanks a lot. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.